information, so you can find a little bit, or you can taste a little bit of the classes that the students go through for 6 months or 1 year on our YouTube channel. And once again, as I said in the beginning, you're going to also be able to find all the testimonies that they're going to be sharing today, and the ones that were shared yesterday. So that's the QR code for the YouTube channel for the school. So we encourage you to follow and subscribe. So with that being said, let me introduce the first student that is going to come and share her testimony. Let me tell you that I have a special appreciation for this student. Working in the school, one of the most difficult things to plan is the cafeteria. All right. If you imagine, we have students from all over the place: South America, Central America, Europe, Africa, and it's very hard to please all of them with different foods. All right. So one of the difficult things that we have is cafeteria. So like a year and a half ago, we were praying, the education team in our worship, we were praying with the student CAF coordinator. We were praying for students that could, help us to cook and to cook nicely and, to have a missionary spirit. And the next semester, we met this lady, Aisha Edwards. She came, right, and she was put in the student CAF. And it was a blessing, right? And I think that most of the students that were here a year ago were able to testify about that, right? She worked happily with a smile always. She cooked good. Students enjoyed, right? And she never complained. At least I didn't hear, right? I don't know if she did it when I wasn't present, but, always with a smile. So I'm going to call her. Aisha, thank you for being here, and thank you for helping us. So the time is yours, so you can share your testimony and how God bless you.
Good morning and happy Sabbath, everyone. Now on the screen it says that I am from the USA, but I am from Trinidad and Tobago, and I believe that God brought me here to Wildwood because after this experience, I am not the same. I came to Wildwood about a year ago with plans, just to learn a few things about hydrotherapy, massage, natural remedies, and some things about evangelism. But I learned so much more here. I grew so much through my experience, and I learned to depend on Christ even more because I was so far away from home, and it was my first time far away from my parents, so I really had to pray. I believe that coming here was part of my pruning process. God had to strip the worldly mindset of always seeking for more money and higher education, and he had to teach me that true education was what was best for me. Now, I'm not saying that having all these things is bad, but I had the wrong motive for attaining all these things. And so this was my problem. God has taught me that the greatest lesson books are useful labor, his word, nature, and life experiences. While here, the lesson book that really changed my life was useful labor. I grew so much while working in the student cafeteria and the diet kitchen. And I really want to thank my supervisors for really working with me and being patient with me. I want to thank Miss Judy. Miss Judy was like my second mom here. Then I want to thank Miss Margarita, Miss Ileda, and Sarai. Thank you so much. You all have taught me so much valuable information in the kitchen. And I also want to thank Chef Googie for really guiding me and helping me in the student cafeteria. I also developed some other really close connections. Firstly, I have a really close bond with my roommate, Renata. Sometimes we would stay up so late when we are stressed, and we would just share what we're going through with each other. And I am really thankful for those moments because they have helped me through. The Brazilian crew, Anna, Julia, Victor, Arta, all of you all, thank you so much. Justin and Ishmael, you all are such a blessing. Thank you. Shade, Amaya, Nora, and all of my classmates, I want to thank you all. I have learned so much from you guys. And lastly, I want to thank some of the workers, Dr. Caris, Charity, Miss Sylvia, and even Kirsten. Thank you so much for your support while I've been at Wildwood. And my family, thank you so much. You all really supported me through this journey. After this course, I plan to stay here and serve in the Lifestyle Center in the nutrition department. This was not my plan at first, but God has good plans for me, and I accept whatever He has for me. Lastly, I want to close with this quote that Renata will always, always say. God never leads His children otherwise than they would choose to be led. If they could see the end from the beginning and discern the glory of the purpose which they are fulfilling as co-workers with Him. Let us trust God's plan for our lives. He will never let us down.
Thank you. So the next student, the same thing, Chef Isaac, right, as he was called by Asia. He also was an answer of our prayers because they were together in the student cafe in their first semester. I remember, I think I was one of the first ones that met him when he came asking for the program. You came with your mom, I believe, and with your aunt, and I was there. The registrar at that moment wasn't there, so I was giving the information, and it was a blessing for me how to see from someone that is coming and asking from the program and then, applying and then being accepted and then going through the program of the missionary volunteer and then taking the program. So what I can say about Isaac very quickly is that you will see it in his testimony. He's always smiling. Is that correct? Yes? Right? And he, in the class, was always willing to do things, although he didn't want to do it. Someone, volunteered him, and he will never say no. So I would appreciate that of him. So thank you very much, Isaac. So the time is yours now.
Good morning, church. So as you've said, this was a very interesting experience for me, coming here, coming from Laurelbrook and from the place that I was before. And as many of you know, right before I came here, I was, I just graduated. I thought I was done, ready for the world, ready for everything. Like the way they want you to believe in high school, oh, you're ready. Here we are again, at the same place, with the same suit. And once you graduate, of course, you get this feeling that you're supposed to be out there, but Wildwood has helped me realize that the foundation that I got in high school, it needed a strengthening. During that missionary volunteer program, of course, there was an amazing time in the kitchen, working with one of the best co-workers I've worked with, Madam Asia, and with Miss Judy. I got to learn so many things, got introduced to a different style of cooking, a different style of making things, being creative. And from there, I got to realize that I had a passion that was kind of in the back of my mind that got brought to the front, which was just cooking. And as we went through that missionary volunteer program, not only was the work amazing, fantastic, even though it was sometimes 12, 13 hours a day, but also those principal classes, they helped me to understand why we do what we do and why we're here. And one of the classes, or some of the classes I want to highlight especially, is Christian living. That class was one of the toughest yet most life-changing classes, at least for me personally. And I want to thank Miss Sylvia for teaching that class, because for anyone who's gone through that class, you've had some interesting thoughts, some interesting ideas. But if you let that class just kind of sit with you, it's impacted me in such a way that it's still influencing my life today. Those principles that I learned there are still influencing what I have here. Another class that really impacted my life was Christian home. Even though some of those principles we had already been taught before, I was able to understand what it means to run a home, what it means to go out and get that family later in life, of course, as my auntie likes to say when I'm 30. But those first 6 months gave me what I needed to survive the next 6 and to learn how to implement the knowledge that I would gain. But even though those months were great, they pale in comparison to the next 6, the in-class program. The experiences that were there were phenomenal in their own way. And I say that knowing that I slept through some of the classes, I know. But whether we were learning physiology with Miss Carice or memorizing Daniel with Mr. Tapiwa, the in-class program gave me a solid balance between the spiritual and the medical, even though it was focused more on health. And the range and diversity of the people and personalities that I got to meet this semester made me step out of my comfort zone in all types of scenarios. Whether we were over there building fires with Lee, or we were making science projects with Renata, there are so many experiences there that just helped me grow. But in closing, the question that I asked myself as I was making this testimony is, what have I learned here? What's different between now and the last time I stood in this suit? And the answer to that, if you want to turn there, I'm not going to read it, is in Revelation 3:15 through 18. Last time I stood in this suit, I thought I was rich in the things of God. Maybe not a billionaire, but having enough to be able to go out there and to do what He has called me to do. That there wasn't so much, maybe a little bit, but there wasn't so much that God was to teach me. But the Lord has shown me through my experience here, especially in evangelism, which will be talked about in the afternoon, that I am poor, blind, and naked. That without Him in my life and His guidance, I'm pitiful and wretched. And throughout this year, I've taken His counsel. I've begun to purchase a character refined in the fire of trial, white clothes of purity and distinction from the old, washed in His blood, and the eye salve of conviction, to continue to see my iniquity and to continue to look for Him for a life apart from that. To all of us, but especially to the MVs who are entering this program, this can be your experience also, and let Him guide you there. As I finish this program, my next plans are to continue what I've been doing in my second semester of work, which is media internship. I've learned so much there, and I'm willing to continue the journey with my amazing boss, Mr. Jonathan. But yeah.
Thank you very much. The next student, Bethany, when we were in orientation 6 months ago, I remember, we were introducing each other there in the class, all the students, and I saw her, and she was serious, right? And I was a little bit, thinking, intimidated, and see. But then I was able to understand that she was serious but focused, right? And what I can say about Bethany is that she's determined, right? And she's always pursuing for excellence, always, asking for the grades and for the grades. And we were able to see, that definitely she was doing her best, right, to pursue for excellence. I also wanted to share something else, but I'm not going to do it because she didn't allow me. But I'm going to say this. We have a class, it's called God's Healing Program, and in that class, we're trying to understand how God reveals His will into our lives, right? And the students have homework where they have to apply all the elements and all the steps on how God reveals His will and try to understand what is God's will for their lives and what God wants them to do, very soon, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. And when she shared in class what she wanted to do, I was able to understand that God is leading her, right? Because a young lady with her age wouldn't have that spiritual maturity to say what she said. I cannot say it, right? Because she told me, don't share that in public. But definitely I can say, that God is leading her and that God has given her spiritual maturity that definitely will equip her to be very useful in the work of God. So Bethany, thank you very much. The time is yours.
Good morning, everyone. My story starts in January of 2024. I was chatting with a lady at church talking about my plans for the future and what I was thinking about doing, and she said, "Bethany, you should go to Wildwood." And I thought, that's a great idea. So I added it to my list of things I was considering for the future, which included 2 things, Wildwood and Southern. So I know it's complete opposites, but I wanted to be an occupational therapist. I thought that I would like to do that. So I had 2 things that I wanted to go that were kind of like in the way. Like I needed to score a 33 on the ACT, and I was needing to shadow an occupational therapist to see if I'd like it. So the first thing that happened is I didn't score a 33 on the ACT, and I scored a 31. And then the second thing is I shadowed the occupational therapist, and I felt like I was in a cage. The best part of my day was telling the occupational therapist about what I believed. So revisiting the conversation I had with this lady, I decided that, I'm going to try to go to Wildwood. And I really wonder what I would have thought had I known what a life-changing experience it would be coming here. So let me give you some context. 2024 was a hard year for me. We had just moved to Tennessee after traveling for 2 months and not having a permanent place to stay. So we were settled, but not really. We were staying with my grandparents at their place, and it was not settled by anybody else's standards. So I was asking why. I kept asking why, but I never understood, and I was just trying to keep seeking God and clinging to Him, but it was very challenging. And then we ended up moving again to Columbia, Tennessee, and we were there. That was where we were living, and it was really hard for me. I kept asking why. I didn't understand, and the depression was really, I was starting to get really depressed, and I was kind of feeling like I was drowning. Then I was having some issues with friends and stuff, so that made it worse. And finally, one day, I was going through my journal, just reading stuff I had written, and it dawned on me, I've been depressed since April. And I was like, that's 3 months. I don't want to keep being depressed. So I was like, I know I can't free myself from this depression, but I know that God can. So I asked God to, and you want to know what? He did. And it was so amazing to me because I wasn't depressed anymore. I wasn't sad. I wasn't unhappy. And it was just really encouraging to me. So I was starting to try to move forward from that, and I was trying to figure out who I was and just what I wanted in life. I started asking hard questions and trying to face the answers, and that wasn't always easy. But the other thing that was happening at that time is I was compromising, which is not a good thing, and it's not something I'm proud of, but I was compromising. One example is in music. It was sliding. You start listening to something that's not good, and you're like, oh, well, this isn't so bad. And then the next step is like, well, it's not so bad. And so then pretty soon you're listening to music that you would have been horrified to ever think you would listen to. And finally my mom was like, Bethany, listen, I don't think you should be listening to this music. And I was like, but I like it. And she's like, I don't think it's a good thing. You're on a slope here, and that's how the devil works. And she had this conversation with me, and I didn't like what she said, but I knew she was right. And so I went through my liked playlist, and I took a whole lot of music off of it. But during this time, even though I was compromising, I was still trying to seek God. I was still trying to find Him and to have that relationship with Him. I first came to know Him when I was 13, and he was the most important thing to me, so I didn't want to lose that, but I was struggling. And the worst part was I didn't realize the danger I was in. And that's what scares me so much, is that I didn't realize that I was playing with fire and that I was on this slope and the danger I was in. I just praise God, though, that He spared me from that. Isaiah 42, verse 3, that I had marked, but I just lost the marker. Okay. Isaiah 42, verse 3 says, a bruised reed shall he not break, and the smoking flax shall he not quench. He shall bring forth judgment unto truth. I really felt like I was that smoking flax. I was trying, but I was struggling. I was almost out spiritually. And during this time, I had a dream that was kind of interesting. In one part of it, I was in a room that was like full of slides. And the slides were like up and then down and then up and then down. And I was telling somebody in my dream, I was like, this reminds me of the Christian walk. It's up and down. We have our struggles and we fall and then we have to get back up. And they asked me, they said, well, what is your recommendation for new believers? And I said the best thing that I could think of was that they continually press upward. And then when I awoke, I was like, but that's not just for new believers. That's for all of us. So then it was like, my motto was like, continually moving upward. That was my goal, was to continually press upward in my spiritual walk. And then in November, a friend messaged me and she's like, hey, were you planning to go to GYC? I was like, no, but you could convince me to. And she's like, well, we need help with registration. And I was like, okay, well, there goes the argument I was hoping to have. But anyways, so she convinced me to go to GYC. And GYC was an amazing, encouraging event for me. The meetings really encouraged me. The theme was wherever he goes. And I felt like that was really appropriate for me, just having turned 18 and just stepping out. I was going to Wildwood the next week. And I felt like it was really appropriate. I made some solid friends there that have really encouraged me in my walk with God. And so I got home and I went to Wildwood. Wildwood has been an amazing experience for me. If I were to name this chapter in my life, I would call it reestablishing the foundations. Coming back to where I was when I was 13, standing again in that relationship with God and having it in Him, remembering the importance of witnessing, how important that is, and reaching out to people. And the mission trip was an amazing experience that really helped me come out of my comfort zone and be willing to knock on doors, because I don't like talking to people. So it's just been really amazing, and the teachers and everything, they've taught some really amazing stuff. And I've really appreciated being here, and I feel like God brought me here, and it really was a blessing in my spiritual life. So my goal moving forward is to follow the Lamb wherever He goes.
Thank you very much. All right, the next student, Kira. Here in the institution, we have part of the training is something that we call useful labor, right? Actually, it's like that in Inspired Writings. So the students have to work, and sometimes we go to the supervisor, we ask them, how is everything good? And I remember going to the farm and asking how things are. And the farm manager was very happy, right? Hopefully we can get, it's always like this, right? So we really appreciate, the work that Kira put in the farm. She usually very happy also, smiling, very talented with music, and being always able and willing to help. Right, and definitely we appreciated the work and the help that you did in the farm. Thank you for that. Something that you enjoy. So the time is yours if you want to come and share and tell us a little bit about your experience.
Hello, church family. So this year, this 6 months has been a huge blessing to me. I didn't really know what I was going to do after high school, but at one point, James Hartley had come and visited, and he shared about OCI Outposts and the ministries that they have all over the world. And I was like, man, that sounds like something I'd be interested in. I just don't know where to start, which one to pick. So I sent my mom a whole list of these places. I was like, so she was researching them and like kind of giving me feedback. And I was like, well, I don't know. I do want to have a place that I have a foundation laid for tools that I can take with me to the mission field. And so I thought about Wildwood, and I was like, okay, I'll pray about it. And then I was like leaning more towards that, but I still wasn't sure. But God opened the doors for me to come here, and a huge blessing apart from coming here and God opening the doors is my best friend was able to come too. So that was a huge blessing as well. So my time here, I have definitely grown a lot in more than one ways. There was a few experiences that had happened during my time here that really challenged me but strengthened me as well in my faith and trust in God. Some of the things I really appreciated about being here was the practical things that we learned with hydro and massage. Those really were right up my alley. I love practical things, and so they stick with me a lot better. I also learned a lot during the A&P and nutrition class, things that I had never really understood before, but the teachers explained them in such a way that I could understand it and grasp it. And I don't have it like 100% down, but it's definitely a stepping forward in my knowledge of how to keep my body healthy and well for God's service. Thank you to the staff who took special interest in us and took us places off campus, going on hikes on Sabbath and just spending time with them. That was a huge blessing as well. And I really, really appreciated learning about Christ's method alone, as well as this, like how to deal with diseases. I had not really understood before how to, disease I was always thinking it was bad, something bad, sickness and disease, you just don't want it. But understanding that disease and sickness is an effort of nature, it's let me read it for you. To understand that disease is an effort of nature to free itself from the conditions that result in the violation of the laws of health, to ascertain the cause, change unhealthful conditions and wrong habits, and help nature to reestablish right conditions, all this has changed how I looked at how to treat disease and sickness. And it's something I'm going to remember and take with me for the rest of my life. I want to share this with others. It's a privilege to know this truth. And we have a debt to pay to those who don't know, because these people are going to the doctors and wasting their money on, maybe some sources will help them, but it's just the Band-Aid for the cause. So I want to be able to share that with people that I come in contact with, that God leads me to. And to all the other people, my roommate, thank you for always being there and challenging me, and we've had a lot of good times together. And then also the other classmates and other students as well, you will be missed. My plan for after Wildwood is to go home and try and reach my neighborhood community more, get to know them better, try and get in their homes and share with them what I know, and apply Christ's method alone there as well. And then next year, I want to apply to AFM and join them in their mission work for a student missionary year, if that's what God leads and opens the doors with. I want to leave you all with Psalm 34, verse 8. It's a verse that has helped me through my time here. There's been a lot of good experiences and a lot of hard experiences, but through it all, I'm very grateful that I've been here. And the verse is, "Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good." I have definitely tasted and seen that he is good.
Thank you very much. All right, so the next student, when I was teaching my classes, she's quiet. I don't know if she's the quietest of the class, right? They can probably tell. But I was teaching my classes, and usually she was quiet. I remember one experience when she was sitting on the floor, right? And I was asking in my mind, is she paying attention, all right? And then I asked the question, right, randomly, and then I was able to say, yeah, definitely she's paying attention, right? So I was able to see that she was quiet, but at the same time she was focused. And also I have to say about Casey that I appreciate the polite that she is, right? She's doing her thing. When she was working in housekeeping, she was always polite. She was always humble and willing to help also. So, Casey, thank you very much. The time is yours, so you can share how God bless you with your little friend. Nice.
Thank you. Happy Sabbath, everyone. I'm just going to say a few quick words, and then I'll leave as fast as I can, easy. That's what I said last night, and then I started writing, and I realized that was a lie. I'll still be fast, though. Being here at Wildwood has been such a blessing to me. The process in getting here and the time before I came here was a little bit hard, mentally speaking at least. My plan was eventually to go to college, but I kind of wanted to go to Wildwood, but I was like, why can't I go after college? You know, I was always ahead in my class, and I prided myself in my education, so why would I come to this place where I'm not even going to get a degree and be behind all my friends? That kind of hurt a little bit. I was always expected by people to, I don't know, do great things, become a doctor, and now I'm gonna stay home and work to come here, and it kind of felt like I wasn't going anywhere. I mean, deep down, I always wanted to be a missionary still, but to me, it was like sacrificing something that I thought was a pretty big deal. But to be a missionary means humility. I learned that here at Wildwood in various ways. The training I got was different from any that I was used to. Being a missionary is learning to accept that you're not always going to be the best at everything and being able to learn from the people who are the best. I also learned that to be a missionary means faithfulness. My work area during my time here is housekeeping. I hate germs. Some have even called me germophobic. I wouldn't go that far, but particularly cleaning bathrooms. There were so many times, especially during the beginning of the semester, where I was like, there's no way I can clean toilets for 6 months. But I was reminded of Luke 16, verse 10. He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much. And he that is unjust in the least is unjust also in much. So do your best in the little things, and God will use you in even bigger and more powerful ways. And finally, to be a missionary means to have unbroken communion with God. Because this is where the strength to stick with the unpleasant working conditions comes. This is where the humility to be teachable comes. I realized that when I was connected to God, it was easier to have a better attitude about things. It was easier to stay focused on avoiding temptations. And this comes from a choice, a commitment to say, Lord, you have my attention, so show me what is right. There are so many lessons that I've learned here at Wildwood, but I just want to say as an encouragement to my class and to all of you that to seek the Lord while he may be found. There are many times where I wasn't connected to God, but as I reflected on my experience where I did come to a full surrender, I realized that God never really went anywhere. It was me who went away. He is always there waiting for us to come to him. I've always heard that, Jesus is knocking on the door to your heart and you just have to open the door. I've heard that since birth. But now I've actually experienced and realized and understand how true that is. And there might be times where you don't feel close to God anymore, but he's still there, ever so patient. So persevere, surrender, and find encouragement in Bible promises and past experiences, and store that up for when times really get tough. As for me, I haven't completely given up on my idea to go to college, but I know that with what I learned there, combined with the knowledge and the foundation that I've gained here, I'm going to help people who need to be healed in whatever way, shape, or form. So thank you for allowing me to be part of the Wildwood family.
Thank you for coming, and thank you for all your help. All right, the next student has a very special name for me. When Rachel was pregnant of our third children, I was thinking we wanted a boy, right? But I was thinking if it's another girl, Rebecca is going to be her name, right? So when she introduced herself in orientation, I immediately remember her name because Rebecca, that's the name of if I would have another girl. And what I can say about her is that, she's very good with kids, right? She's always willing to help, always smiling, always participating in things. And also she helped Kira in the farm, very useful, very talented, very practical, right? So we were very blessed to have her in the course, and I'm sure that Chris was very blessed also to have her in the farm. So Rebecca, thank you for being here. You can come and share with us the experience that you had for these 6 months. She also has great plans for the future that shows spiritual maturity. So I will let you share with us.
Thank you. Well, happy Sabbath, everybody. So after hearing all my classmates share their testimony, I feel a little bit unprepared, but we were going to do our best. I'm going to share what the Lord has done for me since I've been here. Over the past few years, I've had a growing desire to learn more about the medical missionary work, and I felt more and more called that that's what God wanted me to pursue in the future. And so, as I was learning more, and then I went to finish my senior year in high school, I was like, praying about, like, where do you want me to go next, Lord? Like, where are you leading me? And I'd had this growing desire that I really wanted to work in Eastern Canada, which is where I'm from, because I realized that in the US and everything, there's a lot of supporting ministries like Wildwood, and I'm not saying there's enough, but there's more. And I was just like, there's so much need in Canada, as there is everywhere, but Canada has a special place in my heart. And I was like, I really want to get training for that, for Canada. So as I was finishing high school, Elder Hartley came to our high school and shared about the outpost centers. And I got the chance to talk to him more about the program here at Wildwood and ask questions, and he was able to give me answers, and what I heard excited me. And now I was like, man, God placed a desire in me to want to come here. And I knew that as I was praying about it, I could see that God was opening the doors. So over the fall, I applied, and I did apply a bit late because I was so busy working that I was like praying, because the process, I was like beyond the deadline a little bit, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get accepted or not, but I was just praying about it. I'm like, Lord, if you want me there, you're going to open up the way. And he did. And so that was, it grew my faith too, like waiting on him and accepting his timing. And then I found out that my best friend also was accepted to come here, and I was like, we're going to get to come here together, which was really exciting. And so as I've been here, I have learned so much, more than I definitely expected. And it's taught me and changed the way I look at sickness and the way that I look at ways that God has established for healing. It also has grown me personally a lot. One of my favorite Bible characters and a quote, which a lot of you I've shared with you before, it was that of Daniel. He was unwavering in his allegiance to God and unyielding in the mastery of himself. And I feel like as I've been here, I've grown in my walk with the Lord and striving to more faithfully have an unwavering connection with him, as well as growing in the mastery of myself. So it's been a big growing experience, and I've enjoyed every moment of it. All of the classes, I can say, have been amazing. I can't say what my favorite was, because I honestly don't know. But from all the spiritual classes, prophetic guidance, prophecy studies, sanctuary, plan of salvation, common diseases, I don't know, all of them, they've taught me so much, seen a clear picture of the simple methods God has established, that he's willing to use anything to prove his faithfulness. He's willing to go to the simplest means, and if you're in a mission field somewhere and you don't have all the things that normally would help cure a sickness naturally, he'll use anything. He just asks us to use what's in our hands. And so, as I'm now finishing this program and leaving here, I have a dream to go back home and start by applying the information, the knowledge I've received here, and applying that at home in my neighborhood, my community, my church family. And then, as the Lord leads, get more training as I apply what I've already learned. And maybe someday in the future, do work in Eastern Canada. That's the long-term dream. So as I close, I first want to say thank you to all of the staff members here who have made my experience here one that has been amazing, as well as all my classmates and other schoolmates. You all will be greatly missed, and you've all taught me things individually that I've learned a lot from. And as I close, I want to share with you, I think, my favorite Bible verse, and that one's Psalm 16, verse 11, and it says, "You will show me the path of life. In your presence is fullness of joy, and at your right hand are pleasures forevermore. And I truly see that, and I know I'm experiencing it, that when we are in God's will, it's the happiest place to be. And serving Him, there's no happier thing, there's no more fulfilling thing than to serve the Lord in whatever capacity He calls, even if it's the simplest things. If we're faithful in that which is least, He will use us for greater things in the future. And as I close, I just want to share this one quote that has meant a lot to me, and that is, "There is no limit to the usefulness of one who, putting self aside, makes room for the working of the Holy Spirit upon his heart and lives a life wholly consecrated to God." So that's my prayer, that I will be faithful as well as all of you, because Jesus truly is coming soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Rebecca. So at this moment, we're going to take a break of the testimonies, and I'm going to invite Bethany back, and she's going to have the special music, and then we're going to continue with the rest of the testimonies.
Good morning once again. So last night we talked a bit about the pruning in the sermon, and that's not an easy process. It's a very challenging process, and even here at Wildwood, I've had some experiences that it's been like, this is hard. And I'm going to share a song with you that has really meant a lot to me and been really encouraging for me through those times when I just felt like giving up, but I knew I couldn't. Still, my soul, be still, and do not fear. The winds of change may rage tomorrow. God is at your side. No longer dread the fires of unexpected sorrow. God, you are my God, and I will trust in you and not be shaken. Lord of peace, renew a steadfast spirit within me to rest in you alone. Still, my soul, be still. Do not be moved by lesser lights and fleeting shadows. Hold on to his ways with shield of faith against temptation's flaming arrows. God, you are my God, and I will trust in you and not be shaken. Lord of peace, renew a steadfast spirit within me to rest in you alone. Still, my soul, be still. Do not forsake the truth you learned in the beginning. Wait upon the Lord. must renew a steadfast spirit within me to rest in you alone. Still, my soul be still. Still, my soul be still. Be still.
Thank you very much. Our next student, coming all the way from China, Dongsu Lee. We call him usually Lee. With Lee, I spent a little bit more time, of course, as a man, and teaching also hydrotherapy. Lee is also quiet in the class, right? Sometimes I force him to speak a little bit, right? But I can say that he is very polite, he is very respectful, he's a funny guy also. I enjoy being in his presence. And what I can tell very quickly, Lee, if you allow me, if not, you don't have an option anyway. But when we were in hydro, we usually, guys, with this semester, we only had 2 guys. So we have a little bit more time and we do some other, hydro treatments that are not in the curriculum or some other things. But usually, guys, we have a, like a challenge, right? We call it the ice bucket challenge, right, at the end of hydrotherapy. And Isa took it, right, and we all knew it because usually you scream, right, after receiving the ice. But, we were ready to do it on Lee, right, after the treatment. But he says, I don't like the ice. So, okay. But because he's so pleasant, such a nice guy, we forgave him. So he never took it. But what happened is that at the final test, we have one of the professors, one of the teachers, the dean, taking the final test, right? And Lee was he was getting the treatment. And I asked Lee, you think that the teacher will take the challenge? I said, let's do it, he said, right? So we ended up, doing the ice bucket challenge on his dean, right? So, and he did it. He helped me doing it, right? So we have a lot of fun and we enjoy the time together. So Lee, if you can come and share your testimony, how was your experience here in the course? But as I said, we really enjoyed him having in the class, and definitely Jorge, the dean, also enjoyed him having him in the dorm. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Esteban. It makes me very embarrassing. Yeah, and I want to say, actually, he forced me to do the ice challenge to our dean. Yeah. And hello, everyone. My name is Dongshu Li, but everyone call me Li. I'm from China, the other side of the earth. Yeah. This semester has been a special experience for me. At the beginning of this semester, everything makes me very not comfortable. The language, the environment, the food. I mean, the food is good, but it's very different with Asian food. And even the lifestyle routine, everything is very different from what I was used to. So during my first week here, I was even thinking about going back to China. Yeah, but thanks God helped me overcome this challenge. Of course, my friends, my classmates also helped me a lot of things. And here, I want to thank our dean. Yeah, he is really funny people, and he loves to say lots of humorous joke. But sometimes it's not so funny. Yeah. Yeah, but he's not only my dean, he's becoming my best friend, a good friend. And I will miss you, and your humorous, and your Chile accent too. Yeah. And of course, in here, I want to thank my little brother. He's from Guatemala, and his name is Gabriel. In the past 6 months, we was working together, we was studying together, and we was playing together over the 6 months. I think I will miss you when I go back to China. And also I will thank the Pete. He is working in the diet kitchen also. He often drive me out to have some fun and try different kind of food, and which is really enriched my life over the past six months. And there are lots of people who are coming from totally different background, like South America, like Brazil, my roommate, Arthur, and Europe, Africa. And it was a mercy because we can study together, we can pray, we can serve as one family in Christ. I believe that is a miracle from God. And thank you to all of the teachers that taught me, even though I sometimes couldn't 100% understand the courses because of my English. But I still learned a lot. Through the classes, the morning worship, and the outreach opportunities in Chattanooga, I see how does the health gospel work, but more important things I have learned is the trust of God. For my future plans, I will go back to my country, China. I'm still praying and looking for the opportunities that God gave to me and God's plan. So I'm not sure where is the next plan, but I believe He will show to me in His time and in His way. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, thank you, Lee. So the next student, Renata, let me just tell something very quickly. The first time that we went to evangelism, there are some difficult classes. Evangelism sometimes is one of them because, you need to tell them, hey, we're going to the community. Sometimes we have to give Bible studies, visitations, help people. But, knocking doors or talking to a stranger sometimes is not the easiest, right, for many people. So one of the first activities that we did is going to the community, giving some flyers, and in our minds, we were preparing them because they didn't know that the mission trip with Streams of Light, as we talked yesterday, the whole week they will be going and meeting strangers, right? So we were just preparing them, right? So some of them were a little bit hesitant. Some of them were a little bit, upset even, this is not my thing. We cannot do this. Some of them says, we look like Jehovah's Witnesses, right? So they're not going to, talk to us, it's like. But there was one of the students, there were some, but there was one specifically, Renata. I saw her confident, right? I don't know if she was at least inside, but at least her face looked confident. So I said, okay, so I'm going to use her and others, to kind of lead and give the examples to others, right? So that was a good thing. And I thank her for that. And of course, some others that went. But Renata did that very, very good. She also took the MV program here. And in the beginning, she worked faithfully and patiently in the store here in the natural food store. And the second semester, she also worked in the kitchen, helping in the diet kitchen. So Renata, if you can come and share with us your experience. Thank you once again for being in the class and for all your service in the store and in the kitchen.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Sabbath. So, my name is Renata, as you can see. I'm from Brazil, and about a year ago, the Lord started to impress my heart, and I wanted to do something more missionary with my life. And I was praying. And although I was in a comfortable life, something bothered me and I wanted to do more. So I kept praying about what I could do, and the Lord started guiding and leading me to Wildwood. To be honest, I didn't want to come. I knew that it was going to be uncomfortable. I was going to be far away from home. I was going to be in situations where I was going to have to put myself out there because may not seem like it, but I'm very shy. But the Lord operated many, many miracles for me to be here, including my visa. And my experience here was very character building. And you can see your flaws, you can see more of how you react in different situations when things get hard. But I've learned to trust in the Lord, and He has changed my heart and how I view true education, which I didn't know much about. I am thankful, though, that I was able to be part of this training. I have learned a lot more than what I thought, what I expected, and I'm very thankful. I want to thank everyone here, my teachers, that I learned so much more than what we read, what we studied in class. My work supervisors that encouraged me and when I was tired, that taught me so many things. I want to thank my deans, both of them, for putting up with me, being there when I needed to cry, when I needed support. I also want to thank my friends and my classmates. We had a lot of fun together. We learned a lot together. My Brazilian family that made the journey here a lot easier. My uncle, my aunt that supported me while I'm far away from home. And I'm heading to the mission trip to Europe more confident that the Lord is guiding me and that He always provides for all our needs. I have learned a lot more than, hydrotherapy, herbs, and prophecy. I've learned to depend on God and nobody else. And also to have a missionary mindset. And I believe that the Lord is preparing me for something better. And I'd like to share a quote in the book True Education that says, "Something better is the watchword of education, the law of all true living. Whatever Christ asks us to renounce, He offers something better instead." Often, young people cherish objects, pursuits, and pleasures that may not appear to be evil, but that fall short of the highest good. Let them be directed to something better than display, ambition, or self-indulgence. Bring them into contact with truer beauty, with loftier principles, and with nobler lives. So thank you, everyone. And I will miss everyone here and also the experiences I had here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, so the next student, she's very friendly, very nice, very joyful as well. I remember when she came a little bit later to the program, like 1 week or week and a half. And I think I was one of the first persons that she met, and we were talking and explaining everything. But what I admired, basically she came almost by faith, right? Because she came to the program almost, without the regular process, right? So when I was talking to her, I was in my mind, thinking this is going to be very hard, right, to make it work. But what I can say now that I admire her faith, right, and her being positive about things. When I was explaining about the program and about the things, we can do it, I can do, all right, excellent. And then when she started the program, there were some challenges, right, that were present, but she didn't get discouraged. She didn't get, disappointed. In faith, she continued pressing together. And Kirsten, thank you to her, also thanks to her, helping. And after 6 months, Charlene is here, graduating also, and we're very thankful as well for the work that you did, and of course for being part of the class. So you can come and share your experience with us. Thank you for smiling always and for being positive.
Hello, good morning. My name is Charlene, and as you know, I'm from China. Actually, I am more like Korean Chinese. I am Chinese citizen, but my blood is Korean. Before I came here, I was already mentally and physically destroyed a lot. And honestly, I didn't have much expectation for Wildwood at first. But now, after 6 months, I can boldly say before God that coming here has been the best decision of my life. So in God's grace, I have met the most amazing teachers, classmates, roommates, a roommate, and pastor. Among our classmates, there are a few teenagers, and living with them has been a surprising and inspiring experience. I never imagined before that such young people could be so spiritual and so firmly grounded in God. Thank you, Kira, Rebecca, Bethany, Isaac, who else? Casey. And then God gave me an amazing roommate, Precious, over there. After we became roommates, she immediately noticed my condition, my bad condition, and actively reached out to me. Began coaching me on lifestyle. At first, I didn't open my heart. I felt a little bit uncomfortable. I was thinking, what is this lady doing? She is crossing line. I don't like that. And I was asking, why are you saying all this to me? According to what? And she never discouraged. She was like, open the Bible and showed me a lot of Bible verses, spiritual prophecies, and the scientific evidence. And then I was thinking, wow, it's all from the Bible. Then I just closed my mouth and started to follow her coaching. Until now, as you can see, I've lost over 10 pounds. And I'm mentally, physically, I'm much more clear than before. So through her, God showed me what it truly means to be a medical missionary. Thank you, Precious. And I am also deeply thankful that God led me to meet Kirsten and Roy, as Esteban mentioned before. In my entire life, I've never met people so kind, patient, genuine, positive, and always ready to help others. Through them, God brought so much comfort and encouragement to me. And to my amazing Chinese friend Lee over there. Thank you for being the first to open your heart to me, for being such a good listener, and for being someone I can truly trust. Because of you, I've been able to express myself freely in my native language, and that has been such a gift. I sometimes wonder why God didn't let us meet in China, but brought us together in here. I guess I will find the answer on the day we meet Jesus. For the last, I thank God for following me to meet Pastor Edward, who has helped me grow so much spiritually. Thank you for being a quiet and a powerful example. He's not here, right? So, for closing, I have had such wonderful experience here that I never imagined or expected. So I applied for the advanced course program here because I want to draw closer to God through more practical experiences. I want to know Him more deeply and taste His goodness. So my desire is to become someone who can genuinely testify that everything I share and give when helping others comes from Him alone. I thank God for following me. I thank God for allowing me to go through difficult times before coming here. All glory to God. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, so the next student, Sister Donna, I understand that she needed to do a lot of sacrifices to be here to take in the course, and I admire that. I mean, it's not, everybody needs to sacrifice to be in the class, right? Some of them left their country, left their families, right? But it's at least what I would say, it's a little bit hard when you have some responsibilities, when you have to take care of, people, things like that. But still, she recognized that God wanted her to get this training, and she did as much as she can. I would say also, and I don't want to go into details, she could share later, but even by faith also she came, and we were able to see how God, month by month, provided for her so she could finish the program. I want to say very quickly also that she was one of the confident ones in evangelism. And I remember that when we were doing evangelism this first time, we all were ready to leave, and she was ready to she said, let's go to this other place, right? She wanted to continue. I said, no, we're ready. We can come another time, the other Tuesday, right? But she was, ready to continue. Of course, she has good experience on that as literature evangelist. So, Sister Donna, you can come and share with us your experience. Thank you for being here. Sister Donna didn't live here on campus, so she was driving, communing every day to come here. So this is also as well something that I appreciate of you doing that. Thank you.
Good morning. Happy Sabbath. Powerful stories. I love stories, and I have a lot of them. But anyway, I want to share with you that Wildwood is a place that I have always wanted to be. This started back in early part of 2000 when my family, we moved from Illinois to Georgia, and just most recently we moved to Tennessee. So when I came to Georgia, I heard about Wildwood, been coming to different seminars, like 1-week seminar, health evangelism, you name it. I was always here. But I was working in the medical field then, and to make a long story short, when I came to Wildwood and started learning more about the health message, the Lord did something in my heart that I didn't want to have anything more to do with doing health the regular way. I was more leaning towards doing things God's way. And so I was drawn to Wildwood. And, I've been wanting to come, but it wasn't possible. So God opened up the way that this year it happened. So I am really thankful to my family. I'm thankful to all the students, the faculty of Wildwood, for all the things that I've learned. Some of the things I've learned before, but so it's just really strengthened what I have already learned and really growing in the knowledge of other things. Having more than just like a surface knowledge. Now coming to Wildwood, I have a more in-depth understanding of a lot of things. And so I am truly grateful for that. All the experience that we have, the survival training, going out there, learning about the different herbs and what you can eat in the wild, and that was just so amazing to me. Through all the different classes, the nutrition, applying lifestyle to physiology, and to show you how, having a proper lifestyle, how it can affect the body, the mind, and the spiritual. That really sunk a little bit deeper, give me a clearer, deeper understanding. And so, with all these things, Wildwood has been a blessing to me. I am so thankful for the staff, for the students, for everyone. I'm really, really, truly grateful. And so with all that I have learned, it will help me because, like Esteban told you, I work as a literature evangelist. I go out there searching for souls. And so I know I'll be able to use all what I learn here in a more powerful way to help people to understand more about lifestyle, how it affects, your whole being, your mental, spiritual, and physical. And so hopefully by God's grace, I can be out there helping people and recruiting people for lifestyle. And with that, I want to share a little story share a quick story. So last year, around about December, I received a lead card, because that's pretty much how we as literature evangelists work. Somebody had gone and seen this brochure. Maybe it was placed in a doctor's office or somewhere where somebody's waiting for service. So anyway, somebody picked up this brochure, they tore out a card. They tore the card out, sent it in, and I was following up on these deeds. So I went to this lady's house. It was kind of about twilight. And, usually sometimes when you go to the door, it's a little bit of struggle. And so she wanted to know why I was there. And I said, well, I'm here to give you the information that you requested. And after questioning back and forth, she said to me, why didn't you call me? And I said to her, well, how many people look at a phone number and answer a number that you're not familiar with? And she thought about it for a moment. She was quiet. And then she said, come on in. So I went inside, and as I talked to her, wanted to find out why she sent in the card. It was, obviously she wanted to get some health information. And so as we were talking, and she explained why she sent it in, she was having some health issues, and I was showing her the benefits of the books, the benefits of the foods and what it does for you and all that. Then as talking, she went into a story about her husband. Her husband had some health challenges as a result of a car accident. And he was going back and forth to the doctors and in and out of the hospital. And what happened is that he wasn't getting better. So she said the doctors, after a while, they got to know her and know the husband and knew or realized that she was a Christian. She said, the doctor said to her, well, it's like she said, Mary, Mary, I know you're a Christian lady. I don't think we can do anything more for your husband. I think what you should do, you should just go home and just do some comfort measures and leave it to the Lord. So she said, well, I didn't take that. For some reason, she heard about Wildwood. This man had been really, really gone down. So she took him to Wildwood, and she said, you know what? After 2 weeks of coming to Wildwood and following a lifestyle and all the things that Wildwood did for her and for him, he began to walk. He couldn't walk after all these times of going to the doctor. He was, like I said, heading down. But she said after 2 weeks here, he began to walk again and walk and walk. And to make a long story short, her husband lived 7 years after they had decided that he should just go home, do comfort measures, and die. He lived 7 years after. And so when I showed her the books, and I said, well, you know what you did at Wildwood, this is the same program that I do out here and with these books, the same things that you learned here. And what was so interesting, what she told me, she said, you know what? While I was at Wildwood, I was so amazed. Every person who came to talk to my husband, they prayed with him. And while he was going through his therapy, they had me in a class teaching me. I really appreciated that. I really loved that. And so that also kind of gave me the heads up to say yes, because I've been wanting to do this medical missionary training for a long time, and that even really boosted me. And so, yeah, it's interesting. So I am hoping and praying that there's more people like that one lady. She has a lot of health challenges now, and she said, I would really like to go to Wildwood and to do the same program that my husband went through, but she has some other issues that I believe that eventually someday she will come. I also met another lady who, she wanted to get the spiritual books, and she said, well, I've been coming to Wildwood to the grocery store where I buy my grains and my fruits and all that kind of stuff. I really like that stuff. So I'm hoping that there's people out there that the Lord will lead me to, and I can be able to encourage them to come to Wildwood. Jesus says, go into all the world. He has given everyone our work assignment. He says, lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the earth. So all of us, all Christians, we can do something for Jesus. And I would encourage all of us, if you haven't been to Wildwood, those who are listening, watching online, come to Wildwood. You'll have a great experience. You will have a deeper understanding of many things that probably was not clear to you.
Thank you very much, Sister Donna. Thank you very much for sharing. Thank you for sharing your experience with us. All right. So, well, the last student for the 6 months health evangelism is Sister Lisa. Also, Sister Lisa is in a similar situation. She was coming from outside. She also had responsibilities, and some of her grandkids are here with us also. And what I appreciated of her is that she always, as well, positive, smiling. I think that, you know, it's a huge commitment. Of course, Sister Donna and Sister Lisa were the ones in the class a little bit more mature, right, if you say it like this. And they were, you know, nice and, you know, with the other ones around. So I really appreciated that. But I was able to see, and she has great plans also that God has put in her heart. But I was able to see how she was absorbing and interested and taking every detail and notes of every of the class. So thank you for that. Sister Lisa, you can come and share with us your testimony and how God has blessed you throughout these 6 months of training.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Sabbath. So I like how Esteban put it, more mature. So yes, I did not just graduate from high school last year. But my journey to Wildwood has been in the making for about 10 years. I learned about medical missionary work about 10 years ago at a camp meeting. And I had continually gone to different camp meetings and different 1-day, 2-day events about herbs or different things, hydrotherapy, because I had been interested in that when I first learned about it. And I was working full-time in corporate America, so my job was very demanding, very stressful, and so it wasn't like I could just take time off and go study at Wildwood full-time. But I did enroll about 2 years ago in the online program. But again, because of my job, I just couldn't give the energy and effort I needed to that program. But what I was learning online was just amazing. And I was like, wow, this is so powerful. This is so interesting. And I want more of this. So it just so happened, you know, like I said, I had no idea how I would ever be able to take time off to take 6 months out and come here. But some interesting changes of events happened in December of this year where I was getting burned out, and I decided I wanted to take 6 months off of work. And it was like in December that I was processing all of this, and the Holy Spirit spoke to me and said, why don't you go to Wildwood? And I looked, you know, and I'm like, it's December 8th. And the class starts on January 6th. And so I went online, looked it up, and sure enough, the application deadline was in September. So I thought, there's no possible way that I'll be able to go. And so I called immediately, talked to Kirsten, and she said, if you can get your paperwork in, which it's quite extensive, all the, you know, medical exams and all of that, if you can get it in, we'll, you know, review it and let you know. So needless to say, I was accepted and started the program on January 6th. And I was so impressed just with day one of classes that I was like, I know this is where God wants me to be. And here's one of my little missionary friends right here. And we'll talk about her in just a few minutes. Hi, babe. So let me get... Okay, hold on. Okay, so I remember talking with Donna our first day and saying, wow, you know, we are so privileged to be here. I wish so many other Adventist people could hear this message because, you know, unfortunately, this isn't being taught globally. There are only a few places in the world that this information is being taught, and I just felt so privileged to finally have the opportunity to be here. And when people ask me, like, so what are you learning there? I've had former bosses say, so, tell me about your program. What are you learning there? And it's like, well, we have like 20 topics, and I just like list all of them. It's like, I'm so excited. And, I would have to get up early because, as Esteban said, I commuted almost an hour every day. So I would wake up at 5:30, but be so excited. I had to have my own personal devotions before I came, eat breakfast, and then get on the road. But I was just so passionate about everything, and I didn't want to miss even one class if I could. It was just that amazing of information that was being taught to us. And let's see. So I wanted to say my understanding of God, the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and our mission is so much more clear to me, and also the health message. I'm passionate about that, and my relationship with God has been strengthened. I have also had to depend on him through numerous things during this 6-month time period, and I've seen miraculous things happen, and I've experienced some very unique things over the past 6 months. I am, my pastor, I attend the Chinese Seventh-day Adventist Church in Collegedale, and my pastor was a guest here at the Lifestyle Center during our stay here, and so as a result of that, Sissy, please. He also has a passion for the health message now. He understands it, and he wants to implement it. Sissy, please stop. Here. Here, go with Precious. Let's go. Okay. So anyways, I've joined that team at that church, and we are working on lots of things of outreach to the church as well as to the community, starting a community garden, doing health talks, doing cooking classes, which we've already done. And then he has much bigger plans for that down the road as well. And then another exciting thing, my husband and I are taking the country living message very strongly, and we are actually moving to a country property very soon. And we hope we have an Airbnb there, and I want to turn it into a wellness B&B and do as much as I can with the community and just send out flyers of what I am able to do with those people, and hopefully that will turn to Bible studies and other things. And then I also have my 2 little grandkids who I'm also trying to teach the 8 laws of health to. We do our exercises. I feed them garlic almost every day, and they ask for it. It's so funny. But we do our deep breathing. We do our other things, and I'm trying to teach them so that someday, hopefully soon, I can take them into the mission field with me. But I just want to thank everyone here at Wildwood. It has been the most life-changing experience. And I just feel so privileged and so fortunate to have had this, because it was life-changing, probably one of the best decisions I have ever made in my life as well. So I thank all the students, all the teachers. You're so dedicated with the material and the preparation that you do to present this information to us. And I just encourage anyone who has not had the opportunity to attend to do whatever you can to enroll in Wildwood. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you, Sister Lisa, for sharing with us, and God bless you in your plans. The last student that we have for this morning, she's taking the ministry management course. This is one of the 2 advanced courses that we have that are 1 year. Both of them, one is lifestyle counselor. They shared with us last night. And Rosette, she is finishing the ministry management course. In this course, they learn leadership, they learn self-supporting, how to start ministries, entrepreneurial skills, and some other things. And one of the things that I can say, it's not an easy course. As I said, it's 1 year, and there is a lot of practice. And usually the classes are in the afternoon, after they ate lunch, right? So you can see, even, for evangelism for the 6 months, it was also in the afternoon. You can see them in the afternoon. Some of them, like fainting or, like having visions and dreams, right? Because, especially if it's hot, things like that. So, but for the advanced courses, all the classes are in the afternoon, right? So you're able to tell, that some of them are tired, probably they didn't have the digestive walk, whatever, right? So in some classes, especially business, all right, you're talking about finances, you're talking about business strategies and things like that. So some students were, like kind of sleeping a little bit, but I always, at least in my classes and the classes that I was present, I always saw Rosette, taking notes, right? With her computer, with her notebook, always constantly taking notes. And yeah, I don't remember seeing you, Rosette, sleeping. So that was a good thing. So Rosette, I don't see you. Where are you? Oh, right here. So you can come and share with us your testimony. She's graduating from the ministry management, as I said. That's one of our advanced courses. Thank you very much for being here. The time is yours.
Thank you. Good morning and happy Sabbath. So, I am Rosette Reese, as I was just introduced. I am from the beautiful island of Jamaica. Thank you. And so, I'm just here to share as briefly as I can my journey from Wildwood. If that slide is ready. I have a question for you. How would you like your life or health prescription to be written? Does what you see here in the left side of the slide represent your answer? Yes? If yes, you can nod your head. If no, you can shake it. I should see some movement, like a wave of movement. Some of us are still not sure. Next slide. So, what we have just done here is literally focused on that. My life has been committed for the last 2 years to get to a place where I can help you to do like this instead of like that. How? Next slide, thank you. So, medical missionary like us, we're working to dedicate our gifts, our talents, and knowledge with helping to change your life and your health experiences. I hope this works. Okay, I won't use it. Let us start where the journey begins. Over 1 year ago, I had a calling from a place that was quite comfortable for me. No, every single spot in Jamaica does not look like this, but there are many spots in Jamaica that you can find that looks like this and even greater. This is where it started. So at that time, I was an educator in the classroom, very committed and enjoying my job. That represents my favorite topic of the class. And there, I heard communications from God speaking clearly to me. It intensified, can change, when we got to the COVID-19 time, when I had, yes, the favorite picture of my batchmates, when I had the most time with God ever in my life, a time that I know we'll never have again. This represents the journey that began. So, this young lady came from a life of glamour. That's their favorite picture on the left, and they can tell you where, you will never know. Next, a life of good friendships and laughter, a life of achievements and more achievements, a life of fun and invincible youthfulness, a life of comfort and security, a life which required me to leave everything that I knew, loved, and trusted. Can continue, there's more of it. Everything that I love and trusted, everything that I knew, loved, and trusted to answer a calling. To live with people I have never seen, and to unlearn and learn things I have never learned. More of them. And so I answered the calling, and that's where my journey began. You see where I'm at? In the bushes. In the bushes of Wildwood, but beautiful bushes, the journey began, and on the left it represents the place that I would call home for the next 2 years. I must add to that, as a note of promotion, that Wildwood Lifestyle Center is an educational institution with accommodation options. So far, and I've quite toured a number of them, has the best accommodation settings among all. So it required me to make great change of plans. So originally, it was Rosette's plans. I'm quite a planner. I planned from the beginning to the end. And I was so sure I was a faithful planner because I would always ask for God's blessings. However, the calling made it clear that it wasn't the blessings that God wanted me to ask for, but He wanted me to ask for His will entirely to be done in my life. And so there was an exchange of plans. And the work began at Wildwood. In the area of work, there was character molding from the beginning to the end. In classes, there was knowledge on learning of knowledge. One of my favorite class, despite so many classes I've done, and my friends, when you've done 2 years at Wildwood, you've done a lot of classes. I feel like a walking health encyclopedia when it comes to natural life, no joke. But one of my favorite classes was Christian living. That class was taught by our former president, Von Sparrow, and it was an entire eye-opener for me. We spent that class, most of us, very reflective, looking at all the things that we would have done differently in our lives. And so I always admire young medical evangelists that came in the form of the ones that we had at the door mainly on this year. When you start your journey at that stage, you have no idea of the blessing you're inheriting. So we had personalities that were impacted and personalities that impacted me. We had prior life experiences, and that for me was my biggest experience at Wildwood. It's the only reason I stand before you. When I review my grades, because we have to review them before we leave to know if we're going to be graduating and going to be getting our certificates, and I see the results, I have to go deeper in prayer. None of those grades belong to me. There is no way that I could have gotten A+ and A throughout this experience of Wildwood that I had for the last 2 years. And so, as a note, I must put in that the life of prayer, my students, fellow students, past students, who are going to become alumni, parents, some of you are engaged to be married, please, let nothing allow you to dilute that experience. It is the only reason I made it. I remember many evenings, because I do morning and evening sacrifice, and I could recall when I could hear others in next door studying very hard for their papers, and I was nowhere near ready because I was doing my worship experience, and it was going to be bedtime soon. Next slide. And so, you can skip, after 2 years of building, we have now come to new accomplishments. And now, having answered the call and initiated medical missionary training, I received medical missionary training as evangelist and now as a ministry management servant. Can skip? So future plans. For short-term plans, I will head back to the beautiful island of Jamaica, where I will organize my attachments that will in any way be affecting me going forward, so I can go forward to fully commit to a life as a medical missionary full-time. And so, in long term, you can change the slide, please. In long term, you can change it. So in long term, my intention is that my life moving forward will be dedicated to full-time medical missionary work. I have no intentions to return to grind for the Philistines. And so, this is a list of persons that I'd like to give very short thank yous to. I can't say them in detail because Esteban is right behind me. We have personal space impacts. We have Sister Mary. We have Carice. I think I've told them over and over, I'm a teller, so they have ideas as to what they would have done. We have Arlene. We have the Hightowers, and please keep them in your prayers because they're going through a tough time. We have Erin. We have Sister Kelly. We have, next slide before I get thrown out. We have Orlia. We have Sister Patty. We have Sister Naga. We have Magna Sparrow, very keen-eyed lady. We have Janelli, even though it's a short space of time. Move it on, thank you. Next, please. We have the educational impact. Esteban, maybe this will motivate him to give me some more time. We have Esteban, we have James Hartley, we have Elder Larry, we have Tapiwa, we have Elder Vaughn Sparrow, our former president at Wildwood, and we have Michelle, we have Carice again as teacher, the media team, very short time with them, but very impacting teachers, Jonathan, Harper, Xavier. I wish I could continue to talk and the president could allow Esteban to give me some more time, but it's not gonna happen. And so work for Rosalie and Joylene, they're very short times with them too, but they were also very impacting. And for church life, I had Rachel, Ishmael, and Joycelyn were very impacting for me in those church experiences. And I want to ask you, know that we're at the end of my presentation. Knowing that I'm sold out for Christ, I've received all of this training and medical missionary work, and I'm committed to turning lives around. I hope that someday, somewhere, you'll allow me to help you to get to this place because thanks to Wildwood Center of Health Evangelism, I am committed to spend the rest of my life healing souls, one life at a time, through medical missionary work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rosette. Thank you for that presentation, and thank you for sharing for the things that God did in your life. So, well, that's the end of the testimonies. What we're going to do now, we're going to close this section with prayer. Then we're going to have 3 to 5 minutes break so you can go to the restroom. As you can see in the screen, please, if you're going to go to the restroom, drink water, try to keep the sanctuary in reverence. So, if you have to talk or something, make sure to do it outside. And we're going to be resuming very, very soon, like in around 4 to 5 minutes with the main service, divine service. So let's pray, and please continue having all the students in your prayers as they go and do God's will in their lives. Let's pray. Father in heaven, thank you so much for the things that you do in our lives. Thank you, Lord, because 6 months, 1 year, for some 2 years, you have done great things. And we know, Lord, that as we have learned from the sermon, from the message, and as we know from your word, that things, they don't need to be easy in our lives all the time. It's through trials that you help us, that you rebuked us, that you teach us. So thank you for that also, and thank you for the trials, for the difficulties, and for the good experiences, for the networking, for the connection, for the laughter that all the students have throughout this time. We pray, Lord, that you bless them as they continue in their journey, and that you may provide all the tools necessary for them to minister body, mind, and soul to everybody that come in contact with them. Thank you, Lord, for the school and for the institution and for the work that we do here. Please help us to do it the best way possible so many, many people can continue being trained and we can all together finish the work very soon. And if there is anyone that is watching online or here considering, Lord, to surrender their lives to you, please help them. If there is anyone that is thinking that they need training or that they need experience or that they need opportunity for them to know more about you and about the plan, the health message that you have, please guide them, persuade them, and open the doors for them so they can take the decision as soon as we have time. Thank you once again, Lord. Bless us and bless the main service coming soon. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Right, thank you very much.